Alright guys, we're back with more House of Ashes. I am watching the Wolf Among Us 2 event. So that's something
to have as a pillar for the company. And so Nick and the team at Ad Hoc are leading the creative efforts on Wolf Among Us 2. But we've partnered with Tech 9. We're all fans of the Life is Strange series. And so they're doing the expansion, which is a separate team. It's really allowing a new creative voice to tell a telltale story.
Yeah, well, it's great that you have both these things, and I'm sure many other things kind of percolating around Telltale and bringing awesome stories.
So is Telltale just a publisher at this point?
Loving adventure games. That's really what got me into the industry, and the fact that you guys have carrying that torch forward for so many years, and now in this new world with all this amazing technology, and the trailer looks incredible. So we can't wait to play it next year, right?
Just a little longer.
All right. Well, thanks guys so much for giving us a first look at The Wolf Among Us Season 2. We cannot wait to play this in 2023. Good luck in the final stretches of development here. Anything else to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, two things really. One, we really wanted to say thank you to our fans and the community and for the support that we've enjoyed in getting this far along. We can't wait to share Wolf Among Us Season 2 with you. And then we have a piece of key art that we're going to drop that shows Big B split between the two worlds that he has to live in.
That's cool.
And you'll be able to find that on Telltale's social channel shortly after this.
All right. Well, we've got key art, we've got a trailer, we've got a date. Things are moving in the right direction for Wolf Among Us 2, and thank you guys. I know how hard it is still to make games, work from home, and with the pandemic and everything. So the fact that you guys pulled this together, I know we're all just waiting with great anticipation for 2023 to play. So thanks, guys. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, while we've been talking about the long-awaited sequel to The Wolf Among Us, the Fables comics it's based upon is also making a return. In case you missed it, Fables 151 continues the series this May, 20 years after the first issue hit stands. So be sure to keep an eye out for that as well. Thanks so much for joining us today to learn more about The Wolf Among Us 2. There is much more to be done before the game is ready to launch in 2023. I know that I'm looking forward to seeing more later this year. Once again, here's the first official trailer built entirely in-game, giving us our first takes of The Wolf Among Us Season 2.
Wait, are they just playing the same thing again? Or playing as Rachel now?
You're listed here as a private investigator.
Yeah, they are.
What does that sort of...
Tribe in general as to whether or not she will be successful.
Alright. Sean, let's do the first reaction podcast.
About to keep the 4, drop the 1, throw in a 2. Survivor 42, baby! Rob Cesternino, here for Robin's podcast. Yes, we're here live on Wednesday afternoon. Surprise! Here we are, ready to talk about. Hey, look. Yeah, we have a Celebrity Big Brother going on. Yeah, we're in the middle of an Amazing Race season, but how about 1 month from today? We've got Survivor 42 premiering just 4 weeks from tonight here on CBS. And we have with us a man who is totally tapped into everything going on.
Into this research.
Of course, you know him from many Rob is a podcast episodes, the B&B post-show recaps, and of course, Parade.com. Give it up for Mike.
Should have triple-checked the data. Exhausted every possibility.
Hi! And 17 other contestants will be competing on Survivor 42. There we go. I got all the high jokes out of the way. We don't need to do them for the next 3 weeks now. You're welcome, everybody.
You've both made mistakes.
Yes, here we are, live for a cast release for Survivor 42. We don't know a ton at this hour.
My name is Marianne, and right now I'm a student and also a retail worker in Ajax, Ontario, Canada. I think my strongest asset in the game is going to be my social skills. Making those bonds I feel would be like a very easy thing. On the other hand, I think that the hardest thing for me to do will be to break those bonds. So like what will happen is my head's like, hey Marianne, like watch out, like you know this is wrong, but my heart's like, no, I have to see the best in this person, I have to see this. And when I told my mom I was interested in Survivor, she was so confused. We're all first generation immigrants, and I just remember my mom being, Marianne, why are you trying to go to Survivor? If you want to be a survivor, let me take you to my village. I'll show you how to make fire, I'll show you how to cook. So she didn't really get it at first, but so many people want to play this game, and I'm one of the lucky few who have the opportunity to do that. I'm just honestly just super excited and thankful, and like I gotta make it to the end. Like I'm so excited.
Okay.
more, but anything there is to know, Mike Bloom knows it.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, I know a bunch, but look, in Survivor, information is currency, right?
Yes, knowledge is power.
I'm not gonna have you pickpocket me and drain my bank account. I'm gonna give you a nice, like, COD interest to have you sort of leak the funds out. So, look, we're gonna be talking a lot over the course of the next few weeks about Survivor 42. I guess that is the advantage of having a long off-season. Like you said, we are a month away, and we've got a lot. We have the bios are already out. Obviously, the photos and the names are already out. That's what we're talking about today. But in the weeks to come, I have interviews that I did with the contestants pre-season, both in written form and in audio form, that Rob and I are going to go through. I might be talking with some other people in, the release up to Survivor 42's. I don't know. I'm just sort of throwing a net out there and seeing how many fish I catch. But yeah, so it's a big day. It's a surprising day. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think the Survivor 42 marketing has been super interesting, right? Like, I can't think of, maybe besides Winners at War, maybe it's because I've been watching Celebrity Big Brother and Amazing Race that I see a lot of live CBS commercials as opposed to on demand, but I feel like we've seen so much of these people's faces, more so than I think a lot of other Survivor commercials. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but maybe that counteracts the fact that, as you mentioned, we really are in like a perfect storm, a superstorm of reality television, if you will, that while we were so focused on all these other things going on the big three, here comes the third end of that triangle sneaking up on us.
Yeah, this was like Nasir coming in, finding the third advantage, and where it uses a goat on Esther.
My name is Jonathan Young, and I own a beach rental business in Gulf Shores, Alabama. This is something for 14 years I've been planning on. I've basically trained for this moment. I spearfish almost daily, and I will contribute a lot in the challenges. I want to win more immunity challenges than anyone ever has. The first impression everybody's getting is going, look at this big guy. I wonder what he can do. But I don't believe that my size is the come-all, be-all. I'm not going to approach this game as a big guy. That's not my identity. My beach service life is I want to serve you. That's how I make my money. So with my tribe, what I want to do is serve. I'm going to be leader servant. So we have a stew, and this is me in the game. I get a little southern hospitality, a little strength, a lot of service to my team, and I'd mix it all up, baby.
He seems like it's gonna be fun though. But...
Sure. Yeah, we did get the promotions, Mike. Don't forget about Buffalo Eric, and of course his daughter Serene and Kat Rupert a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
of course, the upcoming characters on Paramount and Brain Steel 2, a podcast that may never happen in the future.
For sure. But then the commercials started to come back. The monster is back.
Yeah, which is sort of begs the question of, like, was the monster ever here to begin with? Can something truly return if you never acknowledged its existence in the first place?
Yeah, so we can explore that at some point, but we have actual things to talk about here today as we are getting ready to talk about. We're going to talk to you about everything you need to know right now. Yeah,
it's great to be here. We've been away for a couple months. Probably didn't feel like it because of the Survivor 41 deep dives, but we're happy to be here.
And most of all, in this time away, we missed our time with you. So thank you for coming back and making Rob Has a Podcast a thing.
Thank you for making Rob Has a Podcast a thing is like just a good general platitude to put out there. I mean, well, I think we should certainly talk at a certain perspective as to like what's going to carry over from Survivor 41 to 42, right?
Sure.
What is the number that remains? Just to like, give a little taste of that conversation. Is Jeff talking to the camera going to be a thing in 42? You think that's here to stay?
I think it is. I would think so, because I kind of feel like that unless people on the production felt like this is really not working, and maybe that was the case because we saw, I think, a little bit more in the beginning of the season than we did later on in the season. I do think that it will continue to be a thing because they talked about it a lot in the preseason of last year, so I think that they were probably feeling pretty good about it going into season 42.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point that, again, this sort of leads into a conversation we'll have later, but this idea of, they didn't have time necessarily to get audience feedback because 42 filmed, in this case, I believe, really soon after 41, because again, in this 26-day window, like, pretty sure it was almost like a revolving door situation where, like, as 41 was flying back, I'm pretty sure maybe only a week or two passed before 42 ended up coming in. That I would imagine there was not a lot of turnaround for them to be like, all right, let's really think about what worked and what didn't work. So I do think we're going to see a lot.
That's the monster of production.
On the highway.
You can't stop and think about what's working and what's not working. You just got to keep going.
Just run, no matter what choices you may make, no matter if you choose to go into the shed full of knives or, like, you know, to the police station. You're just running from the monster. Your fear moving.
That's weird that Survivor got them to post their own.
But, you know, it'll be
like
interesting to see what ends up being held over due to the fact.
Oh, she's verified on Instagram.
I am Drea Wheeler. I am a fitness trainer / fitness business owner, and grew up in San Antonio, but I live in Montreal now. I feel like my life has been like a Survivor boot camp. Growing up in San Antonio, we basically lived organized sports. My middle school was sponsored by Nike. Like, that's how intense we were, you know what I mean? So I am athletic, and I think that my experience in the fitness game has prepared me for this. Not just being an athlete, but also
You have to secure the
as
tube
an
before
owner
starting
of
the
a business,
generator.
because I had to learn how to
fix it.
strategically be one step ahead of my competitors. It feels surreal that I'm here and my toes are in the sand. It's weird, like, it's bizarre, but as a super fan, I want that, like, song.
You got it?
As I find the idol, and I put it on, and then I take it away. That's what I want as a super fan.
Wait, why is
Like
she
you said back at the
verified
base.
on Instagram?
You were wrong.
Doesn't sound like me.
You said nothing had changed between us.
Fuck knows.
But I've changed. All that time spent away from each other.
So how many people have their Meet Us videos already?
Don't you feel the same way?
Oh, there's quite a bit. Okay, there's like 7.
I missed you too, Eric.
Lindsay.
Okay.
I feel like Lindsay's one of the people I know the least about.
You've been through so much. Hold the fuel pipe.
My name is Lindsay Delasowich. I'm a registered dietitian, and I'm from Asbury Park, New Jersey. This game has been on my mind forever. I always knew I was going to play. I've been doing competitive things my whole life. From 9 to 15, I played tackle football. Probably not many girls are going to say that. I'm a tough chick, and no one's going to really push me around or try to tell me what to do. Like, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Having that edge and being competitive, I feel like is going to be super helpful. Stephanie LaGrossa, from early seasons, she was the last person on her tribe, and I really do relate to that. So I definitely feel a lot like her. Quitting's just not an option, but I think the hardest part for me is trying to get out of my head and just enjoying things, because when you get stressed out, like, you're not thinking clearly, you're not being strategic enough, and if I can just, like, be me, I think I'm going to do really well. So I just got to, like, chill out.
Yeah, I feel like she won't be able to chill out.
I don't think either of us expected to be out of each other's lives for so long.
Past year or so, my head's been buried in Kalis, and I was blind to anything else.
The work is bigger than both of us.
Hi, my name is Mike Turner. I'm a retired firefighter, and I was born and raised in Hoboken, New Jersey. I got hired in January of 1985. I was a young buck coming on the job, rose to the rank of lieutenant, then captain, and then finally battalion-chief. My career as a firefighter has totally prepared me for a game like Survivor, because everybody says they'd run into a burning building and it's full of personnel, but you don't know what you're going to do until you're in that moment. So hopefully I'm prepared to adapt to different situations. I think the most difficult part is probably going to be me talking in a way where nobody hears me, because I talk loud, called the Hoboken Whisper, so hopefully nobody hears they're getting blindsided. Otherwise, you can see Mike Turner's name written on that parchment a few times. But I was the hardest worker out there.
I just love the way he talks.
Angry look, it's totally opposite of what I am. So my job is to diffuse that look right away. Hopefully, people accept me for who I am, not what I look like. No book is ever exactly like the cover.
I love Mike. And got Omar. It's the last one. Yeah, for now.
We have power. There's a way in for these people. There's a way out for us.
My name is Omer Zahir, and I'm an exotic animal veterinarian. A veterinarian, they never know what to expect. You're always working with different types of animals, especially within the exotic field, because you can come in one day and see
see a tiny 18-gram canary with a broken leg that you have to like micro school, or the next day you could have your arm shoved up a rhino's butt. It's all about not panicking, staying calm. You never know what to expect, and that's just like Survivor. I'm gonna treat these people like, oh, you're a guinea pig, you're a rabbit, you're a bird, you're a snake. I try to suss out who they are. I'll be moldable because you have to meet the pressures around you, otherwise you'll go extinct. But I always have my eye on the prize. I want them to see me as someone kind of stupid, you know, a very simple animal, like maybe like a pigeon that doesn't really know what's going on. It's just there to have fun. But really, I want to be like a predatory bird that'll strike them when they least suspect.
Yeah, I'll watch it too. I really like this cast so far.
The fact that, yeah, they're sort of like test audience is the players of 41, and so I can imagine there's certainly a lot of like...
And they were a very vocal focus group.
Very much so. Certain people more than
they
others.
Were not shy about saying what worked, what didn't work. What was a twist that was good, and maybe a twist that was not as good.
I really would like to see someone do a recreation of the famous I Think You Should Leave sketch about the car ideas with Danny McRae as the infamous man suggesting about a steering wheel that flies off when you're driving. Just for the 3 fans out there who understand that reference. I mean, another interesting thing, though, to that point is I can see one reason maybe why they scale it back is if Jeff's onus is to come out here and be like, all right, here's a brand new twist that's coming straight to your eyeball. If they're not so brand new to us anymore, it might not be, there might not be necessity for it, but I can also see Jeff really wanting to, you know, still embrace that fourth wall. The children aren't going away anytime soon.
That's right. Well, let me set the stage real quick for what we're going to do today. We're going to go through the 18 new cast members. We're going to talk through them. Very sort of top-level stuff about what's going on. We're also going to talk a little bit about what we can expect in terms of twists and gameplay, what we know at this hour, and maybe some speculation as to what may or may not come back from Season 41. We will, very shortly, be back with our first Tribe preview. Mike Bloom has interviews with each of the 18 castaways, and we will be listening to them one tribe at a time. The first of those interviews is going to be coming on Thursday. Which tribe will we be talking about first, Mike?
We are starting. Listen, Rob, you and I love Big Brother Canada. We got to start with the Ica tribe.
Yes.
Luckily, that didn't happen in 41 because Deshaun would have gotten those family letters and they would have been shredded by the Ica tribe.
Right.
Yes, so I believe we're going in alphabetical order. So we are going to be starting with the Ica tribe tomorrow, and I believe the plan is to release one tribe cast preview per week. Yeah.
Per week. So then. Sorry. Yeah, we'll have one on Wednesday and then one on the following Wednesday. Mike Bloom and I will be previewing each group of 6 in their tribe, something we were not able to do in Season 41. So I think that will help us be able to sort of process the relationships a little bit better than we were able to in Season 41.
Yeah, well, because, you know, one of the things that I'm imagining is going to carry over is this whole idea of 3 tribes throughout the pre-merge and no swaps. So these people are going to be sticking in these groups for essentially half the game, which is incredibly important, as we saw something like last season. You know, day 1 bonds can bear out all the way to day 26. So I think we're actually going to get a really good sense as to what the first half of the game is going to look like, how that might end up bearing out for the second half of the game. So I'm very excited for that. And, you know, if you also want to check it, I believe the graphics are up on the CBS official Twitter page, Survivor Twitter page, as well as to, like, helpful little guides who's on what tribe with nice little fun smiling GoPro.
Tell me the truth.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast version, we are also on YouTube if you want to watch along and see the visuals of people we're going to talk about. That's at robbinswebsite.com/YouTube, where you can go to see all of the video versions of our podcast and also whenever we stream live. And of course, you want to make sure you subscribe to Rob's podcast so you don't miss the upcoming cast previews and interviews that we're going to be doing. Head on over to robbinswebsite.com/subscribe to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And we always appreciate your feedback, your star ratings over on Apple Podcasts. You can get there very easily at robbinswebsite.com/subscribe. Okay. Mike, you want to talk about our cast?
Yeah, let's start with the cast first, then we can talk a bit about big picture. Because look, there's going to be a lot of constants, I think, between Season 41 and 42. Again, we'll speak about that later. But there are some variables here, and the variables are in the form of 18 new players, which just got revealed. So I think it makes sense to introduce those new factors before talking about a bit more of what the same is going to be between seasons.
Okay. Just also, real quick, are we expecting 26 days once again? Is that confirmed?
Yeah, so a couple of castaways in my interview said 26 days. I have not received any information to question it, and considering that, once again, it filmed right after 41 in the midst of the pandemic, I think it makes sense that it would still stick to that 26-day formula. Again, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They just came up with an entire structure to kind of minimize it down to 26 days. So,
I don't know, man.
yeah, we should expect the same
It was
thing.
not
And I guess
supposed to play
the big
out like
question
this.
is, and again, we'll get into this much later, is the general structure going to change, or are we going through the same motions of like, double tribal council in the premiere all the way up to the final fire?
Mike, in the history of Survivor, have we ever had 3 starting tribes in back-to-back seasons?
Damn.
3 starting tribes. Well, technically, since Korong did film before Cambodia, we did have that back-to-back with Worlds Apart, but otherwise, no. You have something like Philippines to Cagayan was obviously 25 to 28. Cagayan to Worlds Apart was 28 to 30, 38 to 32, 32 to 35, and then 35. We were in that 2-tribe phase for a while, and now we are here in 41.
That looks decades old.
A lot of firsts going on for 41 and 42. Again, we'll talk about this later on. I feel like I keep, being that person that's like, it's coming up. We're going to be talking about everything that's staying the same between Survivor 41 and 42. Not a fantastic promo, but at the same time, it's a really unique perspective for the show, because I can honestly not think about a time where there were 2 seasons back-to-back with essentially a copied and pasted production format. And not to say that, ascribes to any sort of, laziness or anything. In fact, we often talk about the twists that sometimes don't work. It's just a matter of, well, you tried something and then it didn't work one time and then you went away from it and didn't return to it, whereas maybe it could have used some retooling. This is an opportunity to do so, and so I think we're sort of in some rarefied air of, if you take basically the same structural pieces and plug in an entirely new group of players, what is going to happen? Which is an exciting idea.
What about Survivor Redemption Island, the South Pacific?
Yeah, I mean, that is, I guess that is similar, yeah, and that was, that's interesting though, because that was sort of a different filming cycle, right? 21 and 22 filmed back to back.
They came home, they saw it, they said, we're gonna run it back.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw how much you guys liked it. We're doing it again.
I knew we're going gaga over Philip Shepard. Well, here's Coach. The one thing that you all wanted back on your screens for the first time in a year and a
supposed
half.
to be Philip Shepard.
Making his return to Survivor. That's a really great example
Rachel, grab
of
onto
it.
something.
For some reason, if they felt like this was a good time to sort of bring it back. Something like Exile Island as well, right? Had its whole run between just seasons 12 to 14 and then 16 to 18 or whatever. But otherwise, I can't think of a season, especially one that was so twist-plated as Survivor 41, to really take that structure and just install it in a different place. Again, I'm not necessarily mad at it, because I think a lot of us were talking about how some twists worked a lot better than other ones, but could be interesting to see in future seasons. So I'm happy there's not at least we did it once and now we'll
Oh, wait, did we just kill her?
There's some stuff in there that
I'm
you
an
can
idiot.
retool. You don't need to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Okay, please never do that. All right, so let's talk about our
I'm a
first
fucking
tribe,
idiot.
Ica.
I didn't want me to do that.
Ica is...
Ica, right?
We like Ica. I'm Micah,
Oh,
so
wow.
I think it just makes sense that we
killed her.
actually believe... I was going to say, I don't think Micah is on this tribe. That would make a lot of sense to have Mike on Ica.
Yeah.
That would just be an easy association. So
You could also do an anagram with KIA.
There you go. Mix it up. Maybe that is the secret. Again, there's no tribe divisions here on Survivor 42, but maybe it's a secret code by the producers, right? Of all right, we're the biggest know-it-alls in the cast. Let's put them together. This is our pseudo brains tribe. Something that is really interesting, though, Rob, is we kind of have a Borneo situation where, you know, and part of the reason why the pagonging of it all happens is because a lot of the people in, like, the middle of the alphabet were grouped together, right? Your Jennas, your Gregs, your Jervises, your Joels, etc. And all the people at the end of the alphabet, Rudy, Rich, Sue, were on Toggy.
Let's not
Here,
forget
we
that
have
they've
a really
already
interesting
lost
grouping where, like, a
Corporal
lot of
Merlin to
people
the
at
dark,
the end
and
of
the
the alphabet,
night
as we're about to
is
get
still
into,
young.
are on Ica, with a couple of
Which
exceptions.
brings us
But a lot of people in
to
the beginning
Salim.
of the alphabet, with a couple of
He
exceptions,
seems
are on
level-headed,
Vati. And a lot of
an
people in the middle are on
almost
Taku, so, like,
reluctant
I don't
soldier.
know if they were honestly just like, let's just go in alphabetical order. I'm not entirely sure, but I just found that very interesting.
An unwelcome
All right,
fate
let's talk about
now
our
awaits
first
our survivors.
contestant that we're going to meet this
Trapped
season.
beneath the earth,
It's
swallowed
Drea Wheeler. Mike, what do we know about Drea?
one
So
by
Drea
one.
is a fitness
Their lights
consultant.
will
She
be
runs her
snuffed
own
out.
fitness business. She's
Unless you can
originally
find the
from
means
Texas, but she
to
currently resides in Montreal. Who boy, if you were a Canadian resident or a fan from
It's
Canada,
not
they
my
turned out
place to
this
concern
season. I believe we
myself
have
with
like
the affairs
3 or
of
4
others,
contestants
but
representing
it
Canada
does
in
keep
some way,
things
shape, or form, whether a
interesting.
former resident or a current resident.
I
Yeah,
can
so
offer you
Drea is
some
someone
words of
who's,
advice,
you know, very
as
much
long as you are
into
willing to keep
fitness.
this
She is a trainer. She's a personal trainer. She is someone who is incredibly driven.
What was
She
the
lost her
question?
father at a young age, and that
Oh,
really taught her
yes.
this idea of, like,
choice,
you know,
all things
don't
considered.
wait until tomorrow, in a manner of speaking.
Long
And
ago,
obviously,
I met
we talk a
a
lot about
blind
sort of the
poet
losses that
who
people
impressed
experience and how
upon me
that
these
formulates their
wise
life.
words.
And obviously, a big question that
Long
we
is
always
the
ask
way
Survivor
of hard,
contestants is, you know, how
while
much
the hell
does your life
leads
experience
up
and attitude
to light.
translate to the game? And I'm really intrigued
That's
to see
all
if this,
for
like,
now.
take the bull by the horns and, you know, move forward with it mentality is going to carry over to the beach as well.
Okay, all right. Anything else about Drea?
Interestingly, we'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow when we cover the Ica tribe. She's someone who is very set on no drama at camp. Ironically enough, unlike the person that this tribe is named after. No drama. So we'll talk a bit about that, especially since we know the Ica tribe in general, as to whether or not she will be successful in that mission.
Okay. All right. That's Drea. Who else is here on the Ica tribe?
Women at the checkpoint.
Roxroy Bailey.
Roxroy. What a great name.
One of the most unique names I think
Yes.
I've ever heard.
No relation to Randy Bailey?
I mean, listen, it'd be really interesting if we sort of have, I don't know, a Kardashian situation, right? Where, like, Mr. and Mrs. Bailey gave all their children our names between Randy and Roxroy. But yeah, here is Roxroy. He is a stay-at-home dad, but former environmental consultant. He is from Las Vegas. And yeah, I mean, Roxroy is someone who would say firsthand that he actually he's a little bit on, like, the more muted, quiet side. He actually is not on social media whatsoever, which honestly might be a blessing for him in this upcoming season, depending on how he does. But he's someone who's like, listen, I may get some eyes on me initially, ironically enough, for not talking a lot in the beginning, but, like, get some ground under me and I'm gonna fly.
Gotta move.
Get some rocks under me.
We're sitting
Get some rocks under me and I'm gonna turn them into sand.
Yeah. What does Roxroy do by trade?
So his bio officially says stay-at-home dad. He's a former environmental consultant, and he certainly has some professional experience in that regard that he's going to bring in. I'm not sure if this is, now, what's interesting is several of these people did lose their jobs during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the case with Roxroy, or if he just decided to take time off to be with his kids. But yeah, officially, I think this might be our first, like, official stay-at-home dad lower third that we've had on Survivor.
A couple of interesting notes, Mike. No better place to consult with the environment than Survivor, okay? You do a lot of consulting with the environment on Survivor. Do you think that Roxroy will be likely to go to Rocks? Look, 3-3? Fine.
It's the name of the game. That's what I was named after.
That's why they call me Roxroy.
Well, yeah, what's going to happen is there's going to be a future contestant named Roy.
Oh, no, not Joy.
That's over. Yeah, but I watch it occasionally.
We need to get out of this.
What do you watch? I watch Survivor. I watch, still bad. That's over. Yeah, but I watch it occasionally. Okay, what else do I watch? I still watch Survivor. 28 seasons. I've only missed 2 seasons. Why'd you miss those 2?
What did you mean when you said the Iraqis
Not
are
an
these
excuse!
You believe in God?
Absolutely not.
who goes to rocks.
We are
He's going to travel back in time and have a son to like ruin himself, right? Like, hey, don't go to rocks. You ended up getting voted out, so I'm going to name your son after the thing that ends up ruining your life.
Okay.
Monsters?
There's
Come on,
Roxroy.
you're jumping at shadows.
Sir, with all due respect.
Lieutenant!
Okay.
We're trapped
All
down
right.
here with an enemy Iraqi, maybe more.
Romeo Escobar.
What are you...
Romeo,
think you've
Romeo,
seen?
wherefore
It's
art thou, Romeo? You
Look
are
right
on
here.
Survivor 42.
Yes.
Yeah,
Take a mental
Romeo is
picture and
a
snap the fuck out
pageant
of it.
coach.
Where's
He's
this?
someone who, this is a fun
silence,
story that
that's
gets
for sure.
reflected a lot through the cast. A lot of
Mission to
humble beginnings.
I can fix
Cast.
this.
Romeo's family
Satellite.
immigrated to the United States.
Look over the
He
data
grew up
to
in
improve
South
the
Central
algorithm.
LA, so it really is this
Clearly
idea
teething
of like,
problems.
pulling yourself up and like learning how to survive in a world that is a
Understood.
bit
Sure.
inhospitable. He has gone on to
got
do
us
some
into
really
this
successful
mess.
things. He is a producer.
You better
As I
get
mentioned
us out.
before, he's coached,
You wanna repeat
beauty
that?
queens, Olympic athletes. He's worked red
That's what I
carpets
thought.
before as well.
Yes.
And suffice it to say, especially with Modern Survivor, big fan of the show.
Is he?
And he credits Survivor for also
Definitely
like
seems like
helping
that.
him connect
Go check it
to
out.
the world as well. A lot of these people are like
too.
in their 30s, where when you're watching Survivor as a teenager, right, in like a formative age, and you can't really explore much of the world outside due to external circumstances, Survivor can really help in that way. And so Romeo is somebody who's hopefully looking to have some poise and maybe take home his own sash, not Lenahan, in the form of a Survivor win.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting to note about Romeo.
Yeah, very exciting. We should also note here that I believe Romeo, it's always interesting when the cast gets released, right, to have people come out and be like, oh, really rooting for this person. I believe Romeo knows Will from The Amazing Race 32 winner. They have crossed paths as well, so I don't know, maybe Will has that golden touch and was able to pass over some winning juju to Romeo.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe in the form of a lucky king cake baby.
Could be as well. Listen, if he can find the king cake baby, maybe Romeo will be able to find an idol in the middle of the jungle.
That's right. Okay. Who else is here on the Ica tribe?
All right, so this is Swathi. Swathi is our youngest person of the season. 19.
How young is she?
19 years old, Rob. Swathi coming in here. But age is just a number to Swathi. She is a college student. I believe she's attending Harvard. But literally days after finishing her training for the Army National Guard, she came out to play Survivor. So suffice it to say, she is definitely knowledgeable in the ways of discipline, in the ways of maybe a bit of isolation, and so she is very much carrying that attitude into the show. So it's really interesting, when it comes to these teenagers, you have people who are often very confident in who they are, and perhaps they either get humbled by the experience in a certain way, or maybe it changes who they are, especially given what the very different trajectories of our 3 20-year-olds last season in Davey, Gianna, and Xander. It's really intrigued to see where Swathi goes this season.
Yeah, okay. Swathi is very accomplished at 19 years old.
Yeah, we should also mention her parents, and she also immigrated from India. It's really interesting. There's like a good amount of immigrant stories for the United States, and considering the entire onus of the United States etched on the Statue of Liberty, I think that's a really cool idea. Actually, going back to Big Brother Canada, that's something I've always really appreciated about the casting, is that it really represents this idea of, for lack of a better term, melting pot or a mosaic, whatever metaphor you want to use, and I find that a cool commonality with this cast. I know we got that a bit with Nasir last season as well. We certainly had that with like Natalie and Nadia, but I'm glad those are stories that are getting more focused on. If we have Romeo, we have Swathi, Hai, who's coming up, also has a similar story like that, and that's very cool considering like how much of a segment of the population that does represent.
Okay, Mike, who's next?
All right, so up next is Tori. Don't call me Dawn Meehan.
Motherfuckers hunting us.
Is that the twist that we have a lot of famous last names in Survivor history?
Yeah, so this is like, I don't know if you call it blood versus water. I guess it's called like oops all hands.
Are we over
like,
30?
I
didn't realize that.
A relative comes by later and doesn't reveal who they are. Luckily, Tori does not
Alright,
have
we'll
Dawn's
end in a
name
second.
tattoos across her back, but Tori may be a familiar face to those of you that like online reality games. She played in the live-action Season 3 of the show Sequester.
Oh.
So, yeah, we have a little bit of background as to how she might play a high-intense game. Tori
Alright,
is
here.
a
Next
therapist.
episode. Thanks for watching.
Spoilers.